Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
I'm Gucci. What about you?
I'm in Mobile, Alabama, land of the free, home of the brave. I have been here for approximately 10 minutes, and Bradley Flowers, it is a pleasure and an honor and a privilege to get to sit on the same casting couch as you this morning.
Yeah, we got some nice little couch here.
That's it.
So the theory behind this is, we started the podcast in those really uncomfortable office chairs, and then we went to more waiting room style chairs. And so I said, you know what I think I'm going to do? You'll appreciate this. So, we were talking about this for the air. I got a couple young kids now, and I don't always get the best sleep at home. And there are a lot of days, and many of you that have young kids can relate to this. There's a lot of days where, being the agency owner comes with certain privileges that I'm like, man, I wish I could go home and take a nap right now. But what's at the house?
Kids.
The kids. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get me and Scott a couch to record the podcast on, and I can also slide back there sometimes and take me a little nap. So that's the reason. Ask me how many times I've taken a nap on this.
How many times?
0. But it's there just in case.
Busy?
When I was a teenager.
Good intentions, but then
When I was a teenager, I begged my dad to buy me a pool table, and he bought me a pool table that came from a bar that had went out of business. It had a blood stain on it in the middle of it. It was a awful pool table, but I wanted a pool table so bad, and then I never played pool. It's like once you the idea of something sounds great.
That's
but
human.
Then it's
human nature. Like,
could I take a nap today? I don't feel like it.
Well, that's the thing about a car, right? When you become an adult, you start making a little bit of money, you start seeing this car that you want or this vehicle that you want, and you're like, you start almost, really obsessing over it, like looking at prices on the internet and like watching videos of all the YouTube videos and the TikTok videos of people test driving it and stuff. And then you get it, and the first, 2-3 weeks, a month, couple months, it's just, man, I'm just the happiest. But then eventually it just becomes a car. You're like, man, it's a car.
It's kind of like there's been a few days where I'm like, do I want to take a nap? No, I'm good. The other thing is the kids have actually recently started sleeping through the night, so that's been good news.
So my dad's old. My dad's 76. He might be 77. And he's been practicing law for, 38 years and got diabetes, not in great health. Didn't even come to my son's graduation because he can't drive at night, because of his eyes, which is legit. He just can't. But to dovetail on the back of your story, a couple years ago, I went over and saw him at his law office one day in Hamilton, Alabama. And I said, he said, hey, I got something I want to show you. He's proud. And he takes me and walks me back in the hallway in his law office, and he comes to this little office, half the size of this, and he flips the light on, and he had done gone to the furniture store and bought him a Lazy Boy recliner.
There you go. In his office.
No, it's just almost like a storage room he turned into his nap time office. Because when you get type 2 diabetes, man.
Yeah.
And so what he does is after he eats lunch, he'll go back to his office and have his next appointment scheduled for 1:30, and from 1 to 1:30, he'll go back there, flip the light off,
and
go to sleep for 30 minutes, take a nap.
That's
real talk right there.
I know of a insurance agent locally
And I'm not far from that, by the way.
That is no longer with us, who had a hospital bed in his office for him to work. Yeah.
While he was recovering from surgery.
I think
that's some Hugh Freeze shit right there. Remember Hugh Freeze at Liberty had a hospital bed?
Was that Liberty or was that at Ole? I think that was at Ole Miss.
I think no, it was at Liberty. He was at Liberty for like 4 or 5 years after he got banished from the SEC, and they showed it on ESPN one day. It was like a 12 noon game, and can you imagine being the manager / GA that somebody was like, "You see this hospital bed? It's getting in that press box up there, and you're going to be the one to get it up there." They had that some bitch in a hospital bed coaching.
I didn't realize that it was in the press box. I just thought that there so happened to be a hospital right by the stadium.
Oh Can you imagine him? He's got his headset on. We're going to run Tiger Right 32.
He's calling plays while the nurse is adjusting his catheter.
Exactly. So, Bradley, today's podcast, by the way, guys, today's podcast is going to be just Bradley and I, which I cannot tell you how many people tell me that these are some of the best podcasts we ever had. We got a lot of catching up to do, because I'm going to say this, and you may or may not agree with me. I think between our last batch file session of podcasts and today, in the history of this podcast over the last 8 or 9 years, might be the least amount we've ever talked to each other.
Probably so.
Because I think I can count on 2 fingers how many times we've spoken to each other since the last time I was down here, which was about 2.5 months ago.
We've both just been outrageously
and as
busy.
you can tell, Bradley hadn't even seen this yet.
Oh yeah,
There's been a lot of changes going on, guys.
If you're listening and you would like to see Scott's shaved head, go to YouTube.
What honest opinion?
Yeah.
Take you a while to get used to it.
So,
do I look mean?
Do
I look mean?
You do look meaner, yes. So at first, I will say, it was slightly jarring. However, now that it's had time to settle in, I like it, and I feel like you like it. I'll be honest. I have not jarring in the sense that I thought it was ugly.
I know what you
you're
mean.
Not used to seeing somebody without hair.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
But I think
kind of like Tom Segura.
Yeah,
when he first did his about a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, I
was like, oh, that looks terrible. But now it looks like that's how you should be.
Settles in.
Yeah.
You know what I would probably do is let it grow into like stubble and kind of keep it buzzed. You know,
that's what I'm doing.
But mine, so I get a high fade, and when I wear a hat, a lot of people think my head's shaved because the bottom. My grandmother was like, "Boy, did you shave your hair?" You know.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was good. I've thought about. I get beard claustrophobia is what I call it. About once every couple months, I'll get like this claustrophobic feeling where I just want to shave my beard off completely. And I don't do that for 2 reasons. One, my kids would not know who I was because they've not seen me without a beard. And 2, it took me so long to get it to a manageable. I'm scared it may take another 6
if you
months.
Ever cut it, it's gonna.
And you go through that awkward stage. And also, I've even thought about growing my hair out. I haven't told my wife this. If she's listening, she's gonna be like, "What?" But I don't want to go through that like weird, in between stage where you can't control it. You know what I mean?
I saw a guy bagging my groceries the other day. Have you ever noticed how when the guy bagging your groceries is talking to the girl who's ringing up your groceries and they're having like an intense conversation? It's kind of like when you're driving somewhere and you start thinking about something and then you're just there.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they are. They're in this conversation. It's almost like they forget that you're even standing there and they're doing this. Like they're just on autopilot because they're having this conversation. And they're talking about hair. And the guy goes, I looked at him and he had hair down to about right here, about past shoulder length. And he goes, you know how long it took me to grow my hair like this? She goes, no, how long did it take you? He goes, 3 years. But 3 years, man, you could have some Jesus hair.
Yeah.
You talking about that?
No.
Oh,
No, just
okay,
like,
just longer.
yeah. Just
Yeah,
longer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bradley, as you know, and all the podcasts, I guess I'm making this announcement live on air. And I know this is going to sound like a humble brag, but my agency was named by Safeco as the agency of the year for their employees taking the most time off. It's called the it's a new award that Safeco came out with this year in 2025. We are so proud to have won that award. My employees at I Protect Insurance believe. Have you ever seen that video where the kid's trying to explain to the dad from American Pie how tax deductions work? That's my employees think the way we make money at I Protect Insurance is to take days off.
You know,
That's how they believe that we generate revenue to pay them is if I take days off, we'll make more money.
yeah. Yeah.
So here comes last night, 9 p.m. I look at my email and my VA goes, "Hey, listen, my father-in-law has passed away and I need another week. I know last week I was on vacation for a week, but this week I'm going to need a week off for my father-in-law passing away." How do you respond to that, Bradley?
I don't think you have
I swear to
choice.
God, I do not have 3 people at my agency that want to work.
Yeah.
And please don't cut this out. I want them to hear it.
You know,
I want them to hear it.
I was thinking about it. You know, we've had.
Not that they would hear it because they wouldn't listen to the podcast if they were being waterboarded by Al Qaeda in a cave in Afghanistan, and it's the only way they could get out. They wouldn't listen to the podcast. But I digress. Go ahead.
So how big's your staff?
I think we're down to. I'm trying to get them down to 0. I'm trying to get down to 0 staff.
You're trying to be like one of these guys.
I
that
want
says
to be
you can do a
Scott
$5 million
Howell
agency
back
with
in
no
an
employees.
office by myself.
Yeah.
I'll just do it all myself. Y'all go take as many fucking days off as you want. Just go have at it. Go work at the sanitation department. Go work at the Jiffy Lube. Go work at whatever.
Yeah.
Be an artist. Go do jazzercise. I don't care. I'm trying desperately. So I think I'm down to 9 or 10 now. And I'm just whittling them down. I had one get gone about a month ago.
So
She had good reasons, though. She's trying to start a family and do some stuff. And her husband makes really good money. So it's not like she has to like sit there and listen to Miss Jones talk about